Part of the story tells how the hero Beowulf dives into the lake to battle the monster Grendel's mother shown above. In the underwater cave, Beowulf and his exploits are paralleled in other northern mythologies. The ancient Egyptians invented a system of writing that used more than 800 picture symbols. It is called hieroglyphs or sacred writing because it was used to write religious texts on temple walls. Alphabets were simpler to use than picture writing and easier. Readers and writers also had to learn the sound of each letter of the alphabet. Most alphabets contain around 30. By combining these, they could produce a sound of each word. Over the centuries, people have used many different writing materials. The first scribes, trained writers in Mesopotamia, used painted sticks to make marks in weight clay slabs and cylinders. Ancient Egyptians made sheets of papyrus in the early part of in the an early kind of paper from reed plants that grew by river Nile. Chinese and Japanese people wrote with delicate brushes. Ancient legends from Japan tell the story of Susanna, god of storm and seas. He was one of 3 children of Izanagi, the great father god. One day, Izanagi decided to divide the world among his children and gave all the seas to Susanna, but Susanna was not satisfied and quarreled with his father, who banished him from heaven. Susanna went to live in the underworld, stealing a wife from an 8-headed dragon he met on the way. Words and writing. Words have played a key part in the development of civilization. Spoken language, picture symbols, written alphabets based on sounds have all been used to communicate ideas, beliefs, histories, technologies, and laws. Just as importantly, they have also been used to educate and entertain. Stories were told for thousands of years before they were written down. They were memorized, then passed on from one generation to the next by word of mouth. Some of the earliest stories were epics, long tales recited as poetry, and that told the adventures of revered heroes and leaders from the distant past. Other stories were based on religious beliefs or gave a warning against possible dangers or passed on a moral message. To hold listeners' attention, spoken tales were full of exciting events, strong characters, practical wisdom, humor, romance, suspense. Storytellers would sing, dance, use gestures, and make dramatic sounds to make their recitals even more entertaining. Ancient legends from Britain and France tell of King Arthur and his knights. These tales of heroic deeds, love, and Christian values were not just exciting stories first written down in medieval times. They may have been based on much older Celtic tales from England, Wales, and France. Many early stories aim to give young people guidelines as to how they should behave. For example, epics about soldiers and knights taught young boys to grow up as fighters and to be brave when in battle. They also encouraged adults who heard them to live up to the great exploits of the heroes in epic tales. Writing allowed stories and many other kinds of information to be stored and learned by others. It also made it easier